Hi my loves, welcome or welcome back to another tutorial. In today's tutorial we are learning how to make a male granny shorts. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Get up on the floor, dancing all night long. Get up on the floor, dancing to the break of dawn. Get up on the floor, dancing to the break of... So in today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to make the male granny shorts you could see in the thumbnail or the intro video. And for the materials we'll be needing for this tutorial, we'll be needing yarn. I use these two colors, black and ash or gray. I'm using Alize cotton gold yarn for this tutorial. It's 100 gram and 361 yards. I used about 1.5 of the gray for this particular size I made, and I used about 3 balls of the black, so that's about 4.5 in total if you're using this exact yarn in this exact yardage. I would leave in the description how much yardage I used. Okay, you're also going to be needing crochet hooks. I used 3 different sizes for this tutorial. I used 2.5 millimeter, I used 3.0 millimeter, and I used 3.5 millimeter. I'll let you guys know why during the course of the video. You're also going to be needing stitch markers and darning needle. You'll also be needing measuring tape, it's very important. And lastly, you need a pair of scissors to cut your tail ends. Some of you would say, what's the reason for this paper? If you're not new to the channel, you know I sometimes like to give an overview, especially if it's a complicated, not so complicated, but if it's a pattern I would like to break down before starting. And this is one of them. So for the measurements you'd need for this particular short, you need the waist measurement, you need the hips measurement, you also need the round fly, it's also called the crotch, you need the thigh measurement, that's the lap, and lastly you need the shorts length. So how long or short do you want your shorts to be? So I've taken our time to write the measurements I'm using for this particular one. I'm using waist 36, hips 45, crotch I will tell you guys during the course of the video, laps or thigh 27, and the length I want it to be is 27 as well, all in inches. You could use the centimeter measurement of these inches, but I'm using inches for the shorts. Also, I would love to say there's a separate tutorial on how to make these squares. I uploaded it already if you're seeing this, and I would link it in the bio. I'll also put a card here so you could just click it and watch that. You have to watch the tutorial on how to make this before making it. I just didn't want to combine them because you could use these squares for other things. So I wanted people that wanted to learn the square to learn it. And also I didn't want this video to be too long, that's why I didn't want to combine them. That being said, we wrote the measurement out first because we need the measurements for everything. We have to know the measurements before we even start. So how do we know how many squares we are making, how wide or long we want our squares to be? We have to know the measurements. And the measurement I consider most is the hips measurement, because it's the widest part of the body, the lower region, right? And I also consider the lap measurement because this particular client wants these shorts to be baggy, so I don't want it to be slim around the laps. Then for the waist measurement, I would work that along with the waistband. So that basically divides our shorts into two parts, the body and the waist. Okay, so we'll work on the body first. That being said, for the hip measurement, it's 45 inches, and we would divide 45 by 2. 45 divided by 2 will give us 22.5 inches. And we did this because we would work the shorts separately. Okay, we would work the front panel and then work the back panel. Now that you know it's 22.5 inches for one side, you want to know how many inches or how many squares you would make to get this one side. And with this knowledge, I made my squares. So I made two different groups of squares for these shorts, and here's why. I made these sets of squares using a 2.5 millimeter hook, and then I made this set using a 3.5 millimeter hook. You can see this is bigger than this, okay, and I will measure them out for you to see. This one we made using a 2.5 millimeter hook measures about 5.5 inches, or say 5 point let's say 5.7. Okay, 5.7. This is because I sort of blocked this, so it stretched out. It was 5.5 before. Now I want to note that down. So square, we'll call that square 1, is equal to 5.5 inches. And I did this 5.7, sorry, 5.7 inches. And I did this because I'm recreating shorts my client sent me, and I want to do this in accordance to the shorts. On the shorts, 4 squares were arranged for the panel, right? And if I do 4 of these, we already know square 1 that was made with a 2.50 millimeter hook is equal to 5.7. So we'll say 5.7 times 4. 5.7 times 4 gives us 22.8 inches, which is perfect because it's half of our hip measurement. It's even a bit more by 0.3 inches. It's a bit more by 0.3 inches. And that means our shorts will not be so fitted around the hip region. Why then did I not use 2.5 millimeter to make the rest of the square? Because like I said, I want the legs. I'm attempting to draw again. Someone stop me. But I need to have a picture for you guys to see. So this would be what our short will look like. I want the legs to be baggy. Oh my god. How is this a short? I want the legs to be baggy, and this part could be quite fitted, but this leg should be baggy. It should flare out, right? And this 22.8 inches is what 4 will give us. And you know that this thigh, both the thigh area and the hip area are made of the same number of squares. So something has to change between these squares here and these squares here to make them different, bigger than these squares. So what changed? The hook. That's what brought about square 2, which was made with 3.50 millimeter. And one of square 2 measures about 6.7 inches as well. One of square 2 measures about 6.7 inches. And when you do 6.7 inches, when you do 6.7 times 4, because 1 2 at the front, 1 2 at the back. From the picture you could tell it's 4 squares that goes around the lap or the thigh. 4 squares, then 4 squares here, 4 squares at the back as well. So 6.7 times 4 will give us 26.8. And 26.8 inches is close to 27, which is the measurement for the thigh, which would be the perfect fit. If we did 4 squares of this, it will give us the 4 squares of square 1 with 2.5. It will give us the measurement we're looking for the hip area, but it won't give us the measurement we're looking for the thigh area. So this being said, I want you to experiment with your own crochet hooks, because your tension, your yarn might be different from mine. I want you to see the hooks that give you what you're looking for, close to what you're looking for, and then you use that. And if at all you don't even want your pants to be baggy, this could work. It's just because I want the lap portion of my pants to be baggy. That is why we're doing all these calculations. That being said, we would use 24 squares in total for these shorts, for the length and size I'm going for. So 4 at the front panel of the hip region, 4 at the back, that's 8 squares. And then we have 4 here at the front of the tie 1, 4 at the back of tie 1, that's another 8 squares. And we have the same thing at tie 2, that's 8 squares. So when you do the math, it's equal to 24 squares. So you know you need just 8 squares with 2.5 millimeter, and you need the other 16 squares to be with 3.5 millimeter. If you've done your maths, go ahead and make your squares following the square video that I linked in the description box. Please, if you don't understand anything about this maths, drop your questions in the comment section and I will try as much as I can to answer. But I think this is really simple basic mathematics. In summary, we are doing 2 different sizes of squares. We're doing 8 of square 1 with 2.5 millimeter, and we're doing 16 of square 2 with 3.5 millimeter. And we're doing this because of the size difference. This one measures 5.7, this one measures 6.7, and this one is for the thigh region, while this one is for the hip region. Okay, go ahead, do your maths, do your squares, and I will show you how you would join the squares to make your shorts. To join your shorts, you want to do it this way. You want to lay out your squares this way. So you put your 2.50 millimeter squares, 2 of them here, 4 of your 3.50 millimeter squares this way, and you do this 4 times. Okay, so this is 2.50, 2.50, and this is 3.50, 3.50, 3.50. Now they should join evenly, even if this and this are different sizes, but because you used the same number of rounds, I did 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 rounds for all the squares. I used 7. I did 7 rounds. I don't know if that's the same thing with the square tutorial, but I did 7 rounds. So you'd have, even if the squares are different sizes, you still have the same number of stitch at the edge, so they would still join together. It's just this is a little bit smaller than this one. Okay, when you do this arrangement, you do it 4 times. I'm going to join it for you guys to see, but I just wanted to write it out here. You do this 4 times and then you would proceed to join it as 2 legs. Okay, let's get straight into practical. Enough of the mathematics. To join, I would be using the yarn I used for the outer layer, so that will be the same thing. And these 2 squares are 2.5 millimeters. Those are our smaller squares, right? These are the right sides facing up, so I would make sure both wrong sides are facing up now. And I will be using my 3.5 to join. You could use any hook you like to join, really. I will just insert my hook in one of the chains in the corner, insert it in the second chain in this other corner of the second square. I also have a tutorial on how to join squares. I'll link that, really, because I don't want this to be too long. But you pull through, chain 1, and then you join using a single crochet through corresponding stitches on both squares. I just realized this is black, so it will be difficult for you to see, so pay close attention. So you go into stitch 2 of square 1, stitch 2 of square 2, you single crochet, stitch 3 of square 1, stitch 3 of square 2, you single crochet, and then in the chain spaces you try to go inside the chain, not just through the spaces of both squares. You single crochet, and you just make sure you're putting your single crochet in corresponding stitches. Don't skip any stitch. If you do that, you really should not have any problem. I'll link the joining video I have, and there are other join methods. If you prefer to use your needle to join. There are a lot of other join methods on YouTube here, so you just check those out. Whatever you want to join with, just make sure this square is joined, okay? And make sure it's joined properly. Let me show you guys what it looks like. This is what it looks like for me. I like the single crochet join for this reason. It doesn't look so tacky like other joins, and it's really the easiest for me to do. But if you prefer to join on the outside, maybe a design sort of join, you could do that. Once you're done doing that, you come back and continue. I'll join these to 2.5, that's square 1. Then I'll join two 3.5, two 3.5, and when I do that, I will join them here, join it here again. So we'll have 6 squares on this row, and I'll do that same thing 4 more times. Then I'll show you guys the 4 panels I have and what to do with those. So guys, I have joined this side, and this is what we're looking like. You could see this is the smaller square, that's square 1. You could however mark maybe the top with a stitch marker if you feel you'll be confused. But if you did use a smaller square, you would feel the tension is quite tighter than the tension on these ones. They are lighter. So you do this 4 more times like I've said, and when you're done with that, I will show you guys what to do next. So I'm back and I've joined them panel by panel. Like I said, I would be doing the 2.5mm squares at the top and that of 3.5, 2 of them at the bottom. So I did that for all 24 squares, and I have 4 of this. Now to move forward, you want to join this 2 of this like this from top to bottom. You want to join it at this side, making sure the 2.5 squares are on the same plane. So I marked the top where I put the 2.5 squares so I don't mix it, and then the larger squares, that's the 3.5 squares at the bottom. You want to join it from top to bottom with the same method you used for joining the individual squares. You want to join 2 like that, so we would have something like this, and then you want to join the other 2 like that. So I will do that quickly and come and show you guys what we've got. So I finished joining the 2 pieces of this together. I joined them here, and I went ahead to do the other 2 for this second panel, or we'll call it the second leg. However, I now went ahead, after joining like this, I went ahead and joined here again, the middle portion, and I stopped at the particular part. And now I will tell you guys why I stopped, where I stopped, and where you should stop. Okay, so let's just keep this aside and work with this one I have not done. You want to fold it into 2, then you want to mark out a particular measurement. This measurement is called the crotch measurement. So remember when I was breaking it down on paper for you guys, I didn't tell you guys the crotch or round fly. I, however, figured I was going to use 26 inches, and I would pop a picture of the measurement on the screen. It's however the measurement from the top of the waist of the short, so from here all the way down through or in between both legs, all the way back up through the back. So how long do you want that? It's different in females than males. However, this shorts is unisex and both females and males could use it. The difference is not so much. I'll be using 26 inches for this one, for this particular short. And then I now want you guys to see something. In this short, I've only worked the square. This is the upper part because this is the marked region, and you know these are the 2.5 millimeter squares for the hip region. So it's the hips before the legs. But before the hips, there's the waist. So after I join this, I would still work some stitches upward, some granny stitches, and work the waistband, and that would account for something, right? That will account for about 5 inches. So say the granny stitches I would work will account for 2.5 inches, and then the waistband itself will account for another 2.5 inches. That's 5 inches already, right? Solid 5 inches at the front. So we have that 5 inches at the front. Then we have a measurement here, and we will have that same measurement at the back, then that 5 inches at the back. I hope that makes sense. So here's the thing. Let me work with this one that I've already joined. So say you would work 5 inches. I'm just shifting it down a bit. 5 inches still at the top. Then I joined it for a bit. I joined it to this portion, and then I would still do that for the other leg, taking our tape backward and walk another 5 inches at the top. This is where I know where to stop. And how I got this measurement is because I know there will be 5 inches at the top at the front portion and 5 inches at the top at the back portion. That's 10 inches. So this 5 inches times 2 is equal to 10 inches. And we know the round fly or crotch is 26. So 26 minus 10, that will give us 16 inches. And this 16 inches would be divided by 2 because it's for both front and back. So 16 divided by 2 will give us 8 inches. And that's how I know where to stop joining. So if you measure this out, this point I left here, it's 8 inches. I stretch it out a bit because this yarn is stretchy. 8 inches. So you would want to do this calculation for yourself. Measure your crotch measurements, what you want it to be, or ask your clients to send in their crotch measurements. And once you've joined the two panels like this, you want to estimate how much you would do for the band. That's the upper portion that we've still not placed, but we would place later on. You want to estimate that multiplied by 2 because it's for the front and back, and then minus the answer from your crotch. Mine was 10. I minus it from 26. I have 16, and then I divided by 16 by 2 to get 8. And I would measure out 8 from top to bottom. That's when I tug on it a bit, and this is where it's landing. So I'll just put a stitch marker here, fold this, and make sure I put a stitch marker on the other point. This is the same point you did for the first leg. It should be the same thing. It can't be uneven, so make sure it's the same. And then I would simply join from here up till this point, leaving this space unworked like you saw in the first leg. So I would join that off camera and come and show you guys how to now join for the round fly. Joining, that's how to join 2 legs together and still leave this space unworked. So I've got both pieces together, and what you want to do at this point is turn them this way so they are facing each other, as in where the legs will separate. And you want to join this point all the way of the 2 pieces. You see how I lifted it? So before we were joining on both pieces but different sides. So now you want to grab the 2 pieces on the rough side. Of course, I'm just showing you guys from the clean side. Join from the top all the way to this point and then back. So let me flip this around and show you guys practically. Here we go. If you're like me and you like stitch markers, you could use stitch markers to hold it in place. So this is what I'm talking about. You would join both legs together now, not just the same different spots on the same leg. You join this all the way. Because you stopped joining at the same place, it should land on the same spot. You join that point as well all the way, you go through the back and then you join it at this point. You could put stitch markers at different points so it does not confuse you if you're a beginner. You join at this point, so you just make sure, sorry, that was out of frame, I just clicked the stitch marker at the same point. So you could see our short is taking shape now. If we join this, would have a something we can call a short. Okay, so you want to do this on the wrong side, and if you made smaller squares, you want to make sure it's the point of smaller squares that are joining, because that's the hip point. That's the 2.50 millimeter squares. But if all your squares are the same sizes, this does not really apply to you. I've made a slip knot ready to go, and just like always, I would start joining from here. I don't want to keep recording every time I'm joining because it's the same thing, and I don't want my videos to be overly lengthy. So I just hope you guys understand. If you don't, if you have any question whatsoever, please leave them in the comment section below. I will try my best to respond. If you're finding this video helpful so far, like it, and if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, so I'm just carefully joining both legs together, and you can see this is what's forming so far. It's so little, so let me do maybe to this point and then I'll show you guys. But you just want to join with whatever joining means you've been joining before, and up to this point all the way back. Okay, so guys, I am done actually joining. Look at that. Let me zoom out. So this is what we're looking at right now. You see the legs are separated and it is joined. Mine is quite big because of the measurement I'm using, but I want us to take a quick measurement so you see that it's all worked out. Our maths worked out. Remember we said our hips were using 45 divided by 2 is about 22 and a half, right? So you could see this is 22 and a half roughly. And then for this we wanted one tie width is about 27, so this is say 13 and a half and 13 and a half. It's about 25, which is fair. I would now go ahead to turn this around and teach you guys how to work the up portion of the shorts. So now that we're done joining the squares, we want to work some rows of granny stitch. I'm going ahead to remove these stitch markers because they served as indicator for the upper portion of the squares, but now I'm done joining. And what I want to do is mark the sides, although that's obvious because it's 4 squares front panel, 4 squares back panel, but I still want to mark that out for us to see, because when I get to these sides I will be decreasing. We're now working the portion that would lay mostly on the waist, so I would not want it to be as big as the hips measurement, and I'll show you guys how I decrease. So we would continue working from where we stopped. If you didn't cut off your yarn after joining, you could keep up. If you did, you just attach it again and we would continue. So I would insert my 2.5 millimeter hook, because if you remember, that's the hook I used to make the top part, and because I'm trying to decrease, I would love my stitches to be tighter. That helps decrease, so the hook size would help decrease. And you could either chain 3 to come up, that would stand as a double crochet, or another thing you could do, which is what I love doing, is make a standing double crochet. To make a standing double crochet, I'll insert my hook here, make a single crochet, and in the second leg of the single crochet I make another single crochet, and that's a standing double crochet. So I would now chain 1 and go to the next space. I would make 3 double crochet clusters. That's a granny stitch. Chain 1 and make 3 double crochet clusters. Sorry. And you just keep up this way, chain 1, 3 double crochet clusters in every chain 1 space from your squares till you get to the point where 2 squares are joined. That's a point like this one, and I'll show you guys what to do when we get there. Once you get to that point, after your chain 1, you want to make 2 double crochet in the next space, and not making the third one, you go and make the third one in this space. That's the next space of the join point. So we'll have something like this. That's 3 double crochet in these 2 spaces, and this is how to decrease a granny stitch. So instead of making 3 double crochet here, chain 1, 3 double crochet, you've decreased by making a cluster in where 2 clusters should have been. And I'm doing this because the hips is wider, way wider than the waist, and we're trying to work the waist portion. After this, you just keep on making 3 double crochet clusters, chain 1, chain 1 till you get to the next join point. That's where our stitch marker is, and you do the same thing, the same decrease method at this point, but you still replace the stitch markers because we will still be working decreases here as we go forward. I'll show you. So you want to do this decrease at every join point. You have about 8 join points for 8 squares, and you want to do that decrease when you get there every single time, but replace the stitch markers at the stitched mark join points. I'll make one more decrease stitch for you guys to see, and then I'll leave you on your own till we are done with round 1 of decreases. I'm approaching the next join point, which is our stitch marked join point, and at this point, like I said, I would make 2 double crochet in the first space, remove the stitch marker, and 1 double crochet in the next. So this is 3 double crochet made in the place of 2 spaces. I want to put this stitch marker back on the stitch because I want to mark our sides for further reduction as we go. So you just keep working this pattern like so, and I will meet you guys when we get back to the starting point, which is this point. Once you've made 3 double crochet cluster here, you come here and do just 2 and slip stitch to the first one to complete the join point decrease. I'm back at the beginning, and I would make just 2 double crochet in the last stitch, and I will slip stitch to the top of the first standing double crochet I made, and we'll have 3 double crochets here because it's a corner. I'll simply slip stitch into the next one, and I will chain 1 and turn my shots. The flip side now, I want to start by making a standing double crochet in that same spot, chain 1, and then make 3 double crochet in every spot, because now we no longer have the join points, it's just plain clusters, right? I'll do 3 double crochet in every spot till we get to the sides. That's where we marked with the stitch marker, and I'll show you guys what I do when I get there. Remember to do 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, and when you get to the sides, I'll show you guys what to do. Okay, I'm approaching the stitch marker now, and in the stitch before the stitch marker, this space, right, I would do 2 double crochet. Sorry, I had to chain 1. I'll do 2 double crochet, remove the stitch marker, and in the next space I'll do 1 double crochet. So that's the decrease we still did at the first round, but just that this time we're doing it on 2 spaces that are not joined spaces. So you want to decrease on the side here and decrease on the other side. That's where we have the other stitch markers. In between, you just keep doing your 3 double crochet. That's a granny cluster, chain 1, and in next space 3 double crochet, and you will repeat this decrease on the other point of the waist. At this point, when you get here, you make 2 double crochet here and 1 double crochet here, then continue till you get to the till you get to where you started, and I'll meet you guys there to teach you guys how to close off round 2 and get to round 3. I'm at the start point and I would make 2 more double crochets at the beginning. This is because it's no longer a join point, so we're not decreasing, we're only decreasing at the sides now. I would slip stitch to the 3rd, which is the standing double crochet that I made earlier on, and I've closed this round. I'll slip stitch again to the space, chain 1, turn my work. So we'll turn after every round for this portion, and I will make another standing double crochet to start. Now in round 3 of the waist portion, you want to work a granny stitch in every granny stitch space. You would still leave your stitch markers here, but you don't want to decrease. We're not going to be decreasing in every round because that would cause it to have some sort of holes that would not look aesthetically pleasing. So when you get to this point, you make 3 double crochet here, that's a cluster, and 3 double crochet here, that's a cluster. It's at these 2 points you normally would have decreased, but you want to give them what they are due, 3 double crochets each, and you still put your stitch marker in between so you know the points, because in round 4 we would decrease. So you keep doing round 3 no decrease, round 4 you decrease, round 5 no decrease, round 6 you decrease. You keep it up like that, making sure at the end you slip stitch to the first one and turn your work. And I will meet you guys when you have gotten your desired length or your desired rounds of the upper parts. I'll meet you guys when I've gotten mine, and I'll tell you guys the measurement so you could proceed with yours. So guys, I am done working that and I am back to show you guys. This is what we're looking at now. We have managed to make 6 rows of granny stitch from the last point. So this was the first round, and if you see, that measures 2.5 inches. I remember we said we account 5 inches for this, so 2.5 for the granny stitch and 2.5 for the ribbing, or more if you want. And if we count that 5 inches, the 8 inches we left here, 8 at the back and the other 5 at the back, that will give us our round fly. That being said, I also want to show you guys my pattern of decrease, even if I told you guys already. So the first row we did decrease at every join point. The second row we also decreased because we just started working the granny stitch fully, and then the third row no decrease, fourth row decrease, fifth row no decrease, and we ended the sixth row with decreases. Because of that, you could see the waist is caving in. So for the hip measurement, we had 45, and this accounted for that. So 22.5 times 2, that's 45. And then for the waist measurement, we have 36. So far, our decrease has brought it to a point of 19. 19 times 2, that's 38. But we want to get it to the point of 18. That's 18 times 2 would give us 36. That's the waist measurement that was given by the client, okay? And our rounds of ribbing that will be working for the waistband would make this possible. So to do that, we would switch to our 3.0mm hook. At the beginning, I told you guys this is part of the hooks we'll be using for this project. We use the 2.5 for the small squares and the granny stitch portion. We use the 3.5 for the bigger squares, and we're using the 3.0 for the waistband. That's the ribbing stitch. So continuing from where we stopped, so this is the end of round 6, and I would just make a slip stitch to close it off. Oh sorry, that's one double crochet, second double crochet, slip stitch to close it off. I'll slip stitch in the next space like we've always done, turn our work. After we turn the work, we will make a standing double crochet in this space. Now for round 1 of the ribbon, you want to make 1 double crochet in every granny stitch. So in every stitch, you just go ahead and make 1 double crochet. And when you get to the chain space, you make 1 double crochet. So you make 1 double crochet all round. And I would see you guys when I get back to the beginning. What you also want to do at these spaces, the stitch mark space for reduction, you still want to make 1 double crochet in each of it, but you would mark the stitch that goes into this. That's where you put the middle stitch. You want to mark it because we will still do a reduction, okay? So you just make 1 double crochet all round, and I'll see you guys when I get back here. I'm back at the beginning and I just put my last double crochet. So I already did a standing double crochet in this space. So what I'll do is slip stitch and chain 3. Now we'll use chain 3s to represent our first double crochet. And let me show you guys what I did at the stitch markers. So I put 1 double crochet on the double crochet that was here, the second one on this one, and that's what I marked, then the third one on this one, and I continued 1 double crochet in chain spaces, 3 double crochet in granny squares all round. Okay, so that first row of ribbon was a prep. We'll start working the real rows now. So to go to row 2, you turn your work after chaining 3, and in the very first stitch you make a back post double crochet. So to make a back post double crochet, you yarn over, you take your hook through the back, then through the stitch, and you pull up your loop, you make a double crochet. So that was a back post double crochet, and you then make a front post double crochet in the next one. Yarn over, take your hook through the front of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, pull through. So you interchange between back post double crochets and front post double crochets. I think I taught in-depthly how to make back and front post double crochet in the granny square sweater tutorial I made. It has the same colors as this, so it's easy to find on my channel. I'll just make front and back post double crochets interchangeably, and when I get to the decrease points, I would make a decrease. I'll show you guys how I do that, but for now you just keep making front and back post double crochet till you get to the decrease point, and I'll show you guys how to decrease. I want you to also note that these ribbons, they cinch the waistline. So remember, we've still not gotten to the measurement of the waist we want, but with the help of this ribbon, we might even get a measurement that is smaller than the waist, but then they stretch out. Okay, so those are the benefits of making ribbons. Just make sure you make 1 double crochet in the front, 1 double crochet at the back. Keep interchanging between these till you get to the stitch marker. We would make a quick decrease. It's easy, and I will show you how to. A few stitches before the stitch marker now, and I would make a back post double crochet normally in just 1 stitch, but to decrease I would take this back post through stitch 1 and stitch 2, which is the stitched mark stitch. So we'll have something like this at the back, and I'll pull through, pull through two, pull through two. I would mark this. This is our new decrease point in case we want to decrease further. And I'll just keep on making front post, back post interchangeably. So this is what that decrease looks like. We took 2 stitches at once instead of 1, and this is what it looks like at the back. You want to repeat this when you get to the other point, the other stitch mark point, and then walk normal rounds, and I will see you guys once we're back here. The last back post double crochet. After I've made that, I would simply slip stitch at the top of chain 3, and I quickly want to show you guys what it looks like. So this is what round 2 looks like so far. And moving forward, you actually decide if you want to keep decreasing or not. So I still don't have my waist measurement. I have about 18.5 now, which is 37 inches. And if I want to keep decreasing, I will show you what I will do when I get to the decrease point. So you too will know what to do if you want to keep decreasing. However, if you don't want to keep decreasing, when you chain 3, you will turn your work to work round 3. And in every previous front post, you make a front post. And in a back post, you make a back post. So you just work front post and back post stitches corresponding to what they were in the previous round. And if you want to keep decreasing, if you want to attain your waist measurement, or if you're fine with it, and if you're fine with it, you don't have to keep decreasing. You just do this round. When you get to this point, you slip stitch, chain 3, turn and do it again till you get the height you want. But if you want to keep decreasing, I would show you what to do here once I get here. So for those who want to keep decreasing, this is what you do once you get to the decrease point. So when you're 1 stitch before the decrease, that's this, the decrease and the next one, you would take this stitch, go through it, skip the decrease stitch and go through the back loop of the next stitch. So let me show you what that looks like inside. You yarn over and it happens to fall on a back loop stitch, right? So what you would do, or what I was trying to say, is you make a back loop on the stitch before. Because this is a front loop, that's the decrease stitch, you ignore that, then you take the back loop to the next stitch. In that way, we've made 3 stitches one basically. So you pull through that and you make that back loop. It now all counts as 1 back loop. And then you continue front loop, back loop. And when you get to the other decrease point, which is here, you make sure you do the same thing, taking these 2 back loops like this and ignoring the front loop. That's how you decrease. Okay, I also want to advise, if you want to keep decreasing, once you've done this decrease in round 3, you don't do a decrease in round 4, just like we did in the granny stitch part. You maybe don't do a decrease in round 4, do a decrease in round 5, and so on, okay, till you're satisfied with it. I, however, would make my own rounds. If I would decrease or not, I'm not certain yet. So when I make my own rounds, this is round 3. If I decrease, okay. If I don't, I will tell you guys when I am done. But if I'm not decreasing, I'm just making the corresponding front post or back post, slip stitching at the end, chain 3 and turning. So I would do all that off camera and come back and give you guys the rundown. That's basically the end of the short, except some we have to do like a round of granny stitch at the bottom to clean it off, make it look neater. But with this, you should be good to go. Okay, my loves, I am back and I am almost done with the shorts. This is what we are looking at now. My camera cannot cover the entire thing, but I want you guys to know that I've gotten my waist measurement. It was 36 inches, and if you take this round, it's 18. I told you guys the band would snug in a bit, so it's elastic-ish. And for the round, I just decreased in round 2 of the band. So in round 1 was the double crochet row, right? So round 2 I did front post, back post, and in this point I did that decrease. I did not decrease again, and I made 9 rounds. And if you measure the length of the band, you see it measures 2.5 inches, and also the length of this granny stitch measures 2.5 inches. That's the 5 inches we subtracted. So then if you check the round fly, this would give you the 26 inches we're gunning for, because this, when it goes round, sorry, that's flimsy, but it's about 26. Yes, so that's perfect. What's left is to work the legs, and I've done one of the leg. That's for this leg. I would just attach my yarn here and make rounds of granny stitch like I did at the waistband, and the last round will be a single crochet round to clean it up. So I will do that for you guys to see, and we would be as good as done with this project. Before we work the legs, I want to work the waistband for you guys to see. So I made a slip knot with my yarn. I'm mixing the gray and black strand, and I'm using a 4.50mm hook. And I will just basically make chains, a long chain that would exceed the waist measurement. So just a pretty long chain. I will do that, come back and show you guys how to attach it to the waistband, and then we would work the legs, the leg, because I've worked one already. So I'm done making this strap, and it measures about 60 inches. The trick with the strap is that you want to make it long enough, because you could always cut it, but if you make it short and you've cut it, then it's pretty useless. You have to make another one. And you saw I made it using 2 strands just so it is thicker. I just want to quickly show you guys how to attach it. So this is the back of my shorts, and I'll start attaching it at the back. You could use a hook, you could use a darning needle, but you want to make sure it is evenly spread, so one half goes to one side and the other half goes to the other side. Okay, and you could either decide to take it in from the inside at the very back of the shorts, let's say just rows down, about 3 rows down. You insert it and you pull through one of it, and then in the other space, just like in between the double crochets, you put through the other one, and the rest of it is pretty up to you. So you want to decide if you want to do skip 2, pull it through, or skip 3. Depends on how much space you want it to have in between. I think skip 2 works for me. I'll pull it through the other side, making sure I'm on the same line I started with. Okay, and when you're done doing this side, you come back to this side. So I'll skip 2, pull it through again, inside. So you just keep going inside out till you are done with that. That's how it would go. That's how it looks on the outside. So yeah, it's basically up to you. I'll see you when you get here at the front portion. I'm done attaching the waist strap, and this is what it looks like. I would tie a knot on this end and cut it off. I'm just not cutting off my strands yet because sometimes I like to leave it all till the end, and for this shot I am really tired, so I'm leaving it all till the end. So you know what to do: tie a knot, cut off your strand, And I would lastly be teaching you guys how to work this end to make it neater. But like I said, we'll be making rounds of granny stitch. So you want to grab your black yarn, just like we did at the top before the ribbon. You make a slip knot with it, and I would love to make a standing double crochet, but you could do a chain 3, and I'm attaching to this side where the seam is. So I yarned over, inserted my hook, pulled up a loop. So I'll yarn over my hook, then insert it in the space, pull up a loop, 3 loops on my hook, pull through 2, pull through 2, and after making 1, in the next space I want to make 2 more double crochet, and from here I will just chain 1, make 3 double crochet in every stitch except at corner joins. So at spaces like this one where 2 squares meet each other, I would make 2 double crochet here, 1 double crochet here, but in other spaces I would make 3 double crochet, chain 1, and I'll do that till I'm back here at the beginning. So I am back at the beginning, and after chaining 1, I would just make a slip stitch at the top of this. I would now chain 1, turn my work, make a standing double crochet here. If you would rather, you could chain 3 instead, chain 1 and make 3 double crochet cluster in every space, no decreasing, just in every space I'll make 3 double crochet cluster. And when I get back here, after I make my last 3 here, I'll chain 1 and make 2 more here, because this is just 1 double crochet cluster, and then I'll slip stitch into this and do that for the 3rd time. That's chain 1, turn and make this round 2 again, and once I'm done I'll make a round of single crochet, and that would be all for my shorts, you guys. So I'll come back and show you guys when I want to join at this point. And then I'll slip stitch in the next spot, chain 1, turn my work, and then I can make 1 standing double crochet here, chain 1, and make my DC clusters all around till I get back to this point where I'll complete this set, slip stitch, and the last thing we will do is make a single crochet round. So after joining with a slip stitch at the top of the double crochet, you'll just chain 1 and work a single crochet in every stitch. That's 3 single crochets, then 1 single crochet in the chain space, 3 single crochet in the 3 double crochet, and 1 single crochet in the chain space. And I forgot to mention, you don't really have to work these granny rounds I just did on the leg. If you're fine with the length you have, you could just work a single crochet at the end to clean it off. These granny rounds I worked is because I'm just trying to add a bit to the length of the shorts already that I have. But if you're fine with the length of the shorts you have, it's totally unnecessary. So yeah, I will do the single crochet round and meet you guys when I get back here. And that would literally be the end of the shorts. With that, guys, I am done making these shorts. It took a while, but this is the finished look. I really won't lie, I haven't cut off my edges or trimmed them. I'm really tired, but I would do that off camera. I'm sure you know how to do that. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask them in the comment section below. I'll be sure to answer. Thank you for watching this tutorial if you did watch it to the end. And I know I promised a different short pattern, yeah, I really just haven't gotten around to it, but I would get around to it and I would post it. For now, I hope you could recreate this for your clients, your dads, your brothers, your loved ones, and yeah, Let me know if you have any question. Tag me if you ever do recreate it. I would be so happy to see your recreations. Till next tutorial. Bye.
Been a minute since we kicked it, you been